In 2010, the town of Miller's Mills, Oregon, was the kind of place you'd pass through without remembering its name. Population barely 3,000, a single diner, 2 gas stations, and a forest that seemed to swallow the horizon. That changed one August evening, the night a 17-year-old boy named Jacob Myers disappeared. He'd stayed late after soccer practice, helping his coach lock up the field. His friends said he texted them around 8:45 p.m., saying he was walking home down Miller Road, a narrow, wooded stretch with no streetlights. He never made it home. Then the disappearances started again. First, a young hiker named Leela Green. She was last seen heading toward the old quarry trail with her camera. Her car was found at the trailhead 2 days later. Inside, her phone showed a photo taken at exactly 6:42 p.m., an image of trees and a blurred, dark figure standing between them. Police dismissed it as a trick of light. Locals weren't convinced. A month later, a long-haul trucker stopped at the gas station on Route 19. Security footage showed him stepping out to stretch his legs. The next frame, 17 seconds later, he was gone, his rig door left open, engine running. By then, whispers started. The townsfolk called it the Miller Road Curse. Some said it was a drifter living in the woods. Others believed it was something older, a spirit tied to the land. The sheriff publicly denied the rumors, but by 2012, half the town had installed motion sensors and heavy locks. That's when Clara, a 28-year-old teacher, moved in. She'd heard about the town's ghost stories, but didn't believe them. Not until her 3rd week, when she took a wrong turn coming home from work and ended up on Miller Road. It was just getting dark. The trees were so thick they blocked the sky. I remember rolling down my window to see better, and I heard humming, like a woman's voice. It was faint, but close. I stopped the car and called out, but the humming stopped completely. When she got home that night, her phone had a new voice memo, recorded at 7:13 p.m. She didn't remember hitting record. In the file, you could hear her car engine. Behind it, the same humming. But right before the audio cut off, a man's voice whispered, "Don't stop." She never drove that way again. By 2014, the fear hit its peak. 2 children, Aaron, age 12, and Maya, age 9, vanished while camping with their father on the outskirts of the forest. He said he'd fallen asleep around midnight and woke an hour later to the sound of laughter outside the tent. It sounded like his kids playing, but when he unzipped the flap, no one was there. Their flashlights were on the ground, still glowing. Search teams spent weeks combing the forest. All they found was one of the children's shoes and a small scarf tangled in a bush. The prints stopped abruptly near the river, as if the kids had simply stepped out of existence. That's when people stopped calling it a curse and started calling it the Watcher. In 2017, a piece of evidence reignited the panic. A local mechanic had installed a security camera facing Miller Road to catch vandals. At exactly 11:13 p.m. on April 22nd, the camera captured movement. A tall, slender figure crossing the road. It stopped halfway, turned its head toward the lens and froze for a full 5 seconds before stepping backwards into the trees. Authorities released a still frame, but it didn't help. The image was too distorted. No face, no features, just an outline. That night, the sheriff's department received over a dozen calls from residents claiming to see a man in the woods. One woman swore she saw him standing behind her shed. Another said she woke to tapping on her window. 3 slow knocks, and when she looked outside, no one was there. 2 years later, an old journal surfaced. It belonged to Jacob Myers, the first victim, found hidden behind a loose board in his family's attic. The last page read, "Something's watching me from the trees. It knows when I'm alone. It comes closer every night." After that, people started leaving. Whole families packed up and moved away. Businesses shut down. By 2020, Miller's Mills was a ghost town. The few who stayed kept their curtains drawn, refusing to talk to outsiders. That same year, the forest caught fire. Locals said they saw smoke around 3 a.m. The blaze spread fast, burning almost half of Miller Road to ash. When firefighters finally contained it, they found something strange. According to the fire chief, the origin of the blaze wasn't natural. It started inside an abandoned ranger cabin, one that had no power, no wiring, and had been sealed for nearly a decade. Inside, they found soot-covered walls and 3 deep scratches carved into the wood near the doorway, almost like claw marks. The official report labeled it an electrical fault, but when journalists pressed for details, the fire chief admitted quietly, there was no electricity running through that cabin. Today, Miller Road is blocked off by a rusted gate and a warning sign. No one really investigates anymore. The files are cold. The people are gone. But sometimes travelers who get lost in that area report something strange on their radios, faint static that shifts into what sounds like humming. One woman who broke down near the old quarry swears she heard children laughing in the trees. When she turned on her headlights, there was nothing there, except a backpack in the middle of the road, zipper open, phone still inside. The timestamp on the phone read 11:13 p.m., the exact same time the figure appeared on camera years before. No one knows who or what took Jacob Myers or any of the others, but one thing's certain: whatever haunts those woods isn't finished. And for the few who remember Miller's Mills, they'll tell you the scariest part isn't what they lost. It's that the forest still hums at night.